Hi guys, welcome at Photoshop Island. My name is Jelger and in this Photoshop tutorial I'm going to show you how to whiten teeth. A lot of times, you have a picture or a photograph of someone, a portrait or something like that, and the teeth seems to be a little bit yellow. That's quite natural, of course, because that's just how they are, but you want them to be more white. You have been retouching the skin, so you actually want the teeth to be done as well. Therefore we will go and adjust the color of the teeth, not too heavy, so it doesn't look like as if they have been painting, but will be in a manner that they look more bright. Let's get started. At first we make a new layer, of course. Never work in the background. So, well, I don't have to name it because it's just the only thing we work in and I'm not going to make a big document. Then you want to make a selection of the teeth. So you pick, well, whatever selection tool you want. I picked the quick selection tool. You can take the magic wand or you can even take the lasso tool, whatever you prefer. And I just start painting over the teeth themselves, and you will see it might pick up some more than you actually want to, but that's not really a problem because you can deselect it afterwards, and that is what we will do. Now let's deselect these parts. Press Alt, first make the brush a bit bigger, press Alt and just, stand on the lines, click on the lines. Make sure you don't just click inside an image, but you always use the line so Photoshop understands that you want to delete from that line off. Now a bit smaller. And it doesn't need to be perfect. But it doesn't need to look good. Well, for the example, I think this is good enough. Besides, we can adjust a bit of it later on. Now, if you would use this right now, then it would have a really hard edge, and you don't want that. So you go to the Refine Edge, and Refine Edge you find it over here. If you use the lasso tool or any other selection tool, you will still find Refine Edge. So, and now you get this image. Well, for those of you that work with Refine Edge, you probably used it for cutting out hair, and then you used the radius, the edge detection. We're not going to be using this one in this tutorial. Let's walk through the options. You have the view mode with overlay, and the nice thing about this is that you can actually see what's behind the part you're selecting, so you can see how the edges are compared to the rest of the image. You have on black. This is actually really nice for if you want to select a light colored image or you're working on a dark background. On white, that's the different way around, selecting dark parts of an image or of a photo, and working on a white background. Black on white, this is actually in a lot of cases really nice. I think in a Photoshop tutorial where I cut out hair, I show you how this can be used very well. On layer is it really useful because we don't have another layer. It's nice if you have, for example, a picture of a palm tree and you want another beach behind it, or a fill layer. You can see the layer behind it. Well, that's not really useful. Let's start with on black. Now, the only thing we will use here is the feather tool. And that's because that makes the edge just a bit softer. If you take the smooth, for example, the edge will be too soft, and after you made the selection and colored it, it will look like the cartoon kind of teeth, and you don't want that. So let's stick with feather, and you can see if you go too far, that's not what you want. So just pick something, and let's say great, scene overlay. Now we do like to brush this a bit. As you can see, that kind of picks up more of the area you want. So you just carefully brush inside. Maybe here as well. Oh well, I think it's great this way. Let's go back to black. How does it look? Okay, I think this is well about what we want. Now output to selection, that's basic. Press OK. And there it is. You have a selection made of the teeth and the area you want to make lighter, you want to whiten. Great. Now we are making an adjustment layer, and you find them file create new fill or adjustment layer. You can also find them under layer, new adjustment layer, but I prefer to work from this area. And here we choose hue saturation. And now you see the selection disappeared, but it is still there because it's in a mask. And as most of you know about masks, the black area in a mask is what you will not be seeing if you have adjusted or if you are adjusting an image. So whatever you're doing there, it will only influence the white parts, because that's like transparent and the black parts are not. So, but since I only want it to be effective on this layer and not on the layers behind it, now in this case it's only the background, but you pick the option here, you know, square with the arrow, and now you see it only influences this background copy. And well, what it does is basically it does this. Let's keep it at 0 for now. Now at first, of course, we want to do something about the yellows though, so we go to yellows here, and you keep your hands off the hue. You don't want to have to do anything with the hue. What you want to work with is the saturation. The saturation influences the strength of the yellow, so to say. And then you say, oh, but it's red and it's gray, and that's just because Photoshop, you know, with red it says actually look how bright it is, and this is if you bring all the yellow forward, and gray is when it basically all disappears. Now you have to find out for yourself what you like. You know, this is the original image. Do you want to take out all the yellow, or do you want to keep some of it in? You don't really have to go all the way down. So just let's keep it this way. Now then you choose the lightness. You can adjust it here, but we're not going to be adjusting it here. We will do that in the master, because you will do that there anyway. And this means that you want to make it a bit brighter. Well, maybe like this. So now, and basically, yeah, I think I like this. It's still quite real, but it does remove all the yellow and it makes them real fresh. Now, another thing we are going to do in this image is we select the layer, the picture of the photo again, and you go to the spot healing brush tool. And in my case, this is needed, in your case not, or maybe it is. And we did see there's this little white spot here. You can see it a bit more if you're looking at the picture without the adjustment layer. So just make a circle, a brush that fits over it, and press it one time and it disappears. You can also, if you say, oh, but there are some other parts I don't want the contrast, you can do it as well, but let's just stay with this for now. Okay, now we go back to the mask, because maybe we are not completely happy with how some of the areas are done. So let's see, go to the brush, and now the brush is a bit oversized. If you paint with black in the brush, you know, the effect in the mask, it will become black as long as you have black selected. So whatever is behind that black will be influenced by the, in this case, hue saturation. Make sure you have a soft brush for the work we're doing now, and maybe you should turn down the flow a bit, because we are going to work on the edges we just created, and those aren't hard edges, as you know, so we want to approach them a bit careful. Ctrl plus, zoom in. Now let's see. Here is a bit we like to do some things about, you know, just carefully brush. Alright, now I want to do something about the teeth, because I think they are actually bigger as they look on this image after the selection. Now you can leave it as you want, because nobody will see the difference, because nobody will see the before and after. But you can also decide just to paint over it some more to create the size, you know, the original size. And that's something we are doing here. Now, ain't that fantastic? For example, I think it's great. So, this is how they look now after we adjusted them. And this is how they look before. I think that's quite a difference. And they look really fresh. You can make it even, well, brighter if you like, but don't overdo it, because people will see it's photoshopped or think, you know, the dentist was really a bit too enthusiastic about this work. I hope you find this tutorial useful. If so, I'd love to see a like. If you have any questions, just let me know. If you like the tutorial and you want to see more, just subscribe. And, well, for the rest, I'd like to say thank you for watching.